we have some breaking news as we're recording. So we've been following a certain player throughout the NFL offseason and one Lamar Jackson, a guy who's, been at odds seemingly with the contract talks between him and the Baltimore Ravens. So now, Mitch, there is, and of course, this is a time where my internet is starting to fail me. This is a tweet or a series of tweets rather that was put out by Lamar Jackson this morning at 10:48 a.m. And it goes like this: a letter to my fans. I want to first thank you for all of the love and support you consistently show me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate y'all so much. I want all you all to know, not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions. In regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization, for which the Ravens have not been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that has met me or been around me know I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. You all are great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family, and no matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore, Flock Nation, and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again. Mitch, John Harbaugh was supposed to go speak to reporters at the league's annual meeting like now, at this very moment. And we are in the midst of his quarterback leaving for another team, or at least requesting a trade to go to another team. Mitch, we have broken the Baltimore Ravens. It is official. It is from Lamar himself. This is amazing. This is everything we wanted in an offseason. And we now have the clock ticking on the Baltimore Ravens tenure with Lamar Jackson. It is so sweet.
I don't even know where to begin. This is wild because if he requested a trade March 2nd, I don't know the exact date they applied the exclusive franchise tag to him, but it obviously shows by him requesting a trade and then them tagging him. They don't want to meet, like he said in here, they don't want to meet his needs or wants.
March 7th is when the franchise tag was. Sorry.
Okay, so 5 days after he requested a trade, the Ravens said, okay, go seek a trade, but we're going to tag you. So if you don't find a trade, you're still under contract here for however much money it is. This is crazy because not only has he come out, not only was there a bunch of news this past weekend of his family friend or business partner trying to say he was his agent. Lamar had come out and say he is not my agent, nor has he ever spoken on my behalf. Lamar now goes to Twitter, puts out a 4-tweet thread and says that he has requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens as of March 2nd, and the Ravens have yet to meet his demands. And this is absolutely wild. This is intriguing because now the Ravens are stuck. The Ravens are absolutely stuck here. I don't know what you can do because it seems to me, Mitch, from my perspective, that if they don't trade him, he's willing to sit out. That's what this seems like. He does not listen. There was last year of Lamar's hurt. He might be back, and Lamar coming out and putting out his own injury report on Twitter and social media saying that he won't be back for the rest of the season. And this is just wild because now what happens? And what team, to me, Mitch, now this opens up the door for a team to pay him what he actually wants. Because we said all along, we think that a lot of these owners may be colluding, saying we're not going to give a quarterback this type of deal that Deshaun Watson got, that we know Lamar wants, obviously. He's won an MVP, has went to the playoff multiple times. He wants a fully guaranteed contract. And now, Mitch, the door's wide open for a number of teams. And may I include the New York Jets? I'm just going to throw it out there. Aaron Rodgers said he wants to be a New York Jet.
Yes.
The Packers have not traded him yet because they are so adamant on getting what they want back for Aaron Rodgers. If you're the Jets, go get the guy that's younger, the guy that is flashier, has a longer career in terms of age, and you still get a franchise quarterback. Yes, it's not Aaron Rodgers after he's already came out and said, I want to be a New York Jet, but why not? I mean, now that the door is open for the Jets, if they can't meet the Packers' needs for what they want for Aaron Rodgers, here's your other opportunity. The Commanders, here's your opportunity. The Colts, here's your opportunity. Do the Panthers maybe say, okay, you know what? We love CJ Stroud. Maybe we trade the number 1 pick and get Lamar Jackson now. This is crazy. It's fascinating that it's happened like this. And and it sure looks like we broke the Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, look, the thing that even though I just went on that big tangent at the beginning, there is still something to say that the Ravens don't necessarily have to move Lamar Jackson right now. And the question is, can they broker a deal to get Lamar what he wants from another team? Because Lamar's reported contract demands still seem like they're scaring off a number of NFL teams. We just saw this past weekend, and we weren't able to get to it before we recorded last week. The whole weird story that came out where apparently his business partner was reportedly contacting teams for him to like broker a deal, and they denied it. But it was just sort of a strange scenario that kind of proved to some people that Lamar probably needs a real agent. Um, and right now it's another log thrown on the fire that has been this entire drama between Lamar and the Ravens, and honestly the rest of the NFL this entire offseason. So I, I don't know where he goes. I don't know when he goes. I don't know if he goes at this point, because again, the moment that I know that the Ravens have to get rid of him is if he will come out and say, I will not play a game for the Ravens next year if I am still on the team.
You have to. You have to. Why would you hold on to him? I mean, his value is never going to be higher than right now. Obviously, him requesting a trade kind of hurts how you can demand certain things. But if he comes out and says he's sitting out, the Ravens are going to be in all sorts of trouble, because they're going to have no choice but to trade him to get the money off the books, and also not hold the team down in terms of bad quarterback play and not being able to really do anything until he's gone. Lamar is a phenomenal quarterback, Mitch. Obviously a league MVP, a top quarterback in the league. And I think he feels that he has not been respected as such. I think we've seen it now for a couple of years of, oh, they'd be so much better if they have weapons. They trade his top target, whether you agree or not that Marquise Hollywood Brown is a true number one wide receiver. They've done him no favors. What have they done to help his passing game? We know how dynamic he is as a runner. We know that they value running the football very much so, obviously, with the number of backs they've had with Lamar. But besides Mark Andrews, what have they done to help him in the passing game? It's nothing. And so I can totally agree that he wants out because they are refusing to A, pay him, and then B, surround him with adequate talent. Look what the Jets have done. They don't even have Aaron Rodgers yet.
Yeah.
The Jets are out here wheeling and dealing to get wide receivers in here, and they don't even have Aaron Rodgers yet. And Lamar has been here in Baltimore now, really put the team on his back for a few of those years. Obviously, their defense is always up there in terms of the top half of the NFL, but this is wild. This really is. And to your point, you said Harbaugh was supposed to talk today at the owners' meetings. We'll see if he does now, or if this is one where they have to kind of pull back and kind of regroup and maybe put out a PR statement. But this is going to be very interesting whenever we hear from Steve Bisciotti or John Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
This is just very interesting. And now, what team is willing to pony up to go get Lamar Jackson?
Well, Ravens coach John Harbaugh is speaking right now at the meetings. I'm getting reports from different NFL reporters, like quotes and everything, and I have to watch the video first before I can make a full assessment. But this tweet right here from Albert Breer: Ravens coach John Harbaugh now striking a positive tone, because all the questions right now are about Lamar at this meeting. It was like all the questions that were supposed to be there thrown out the window. It's all about Lamar for this day. He said Harbaugh struck a positive tone when asked about Lamar. Said, "Quote: When we're playing football next year and Lamar Jackson's the quarterback, we're all going to be happy." Mr. Harbaugh, denial is a river in Egypt. Come on, buddy. What are we doing with our lives here? This is something else. And look, you can say that the Browns made the most asinine contract in NFL history. With time, it possibly could be. Now he could win a Super Bowl, and we could all look back and be like, "Oh yeah, that's what the Browns need to do." Some will say they sold their soul for him, and we don't know that for sure. What the Browns did, and not only breaking contracts for the Ravens, but the rest of the NFL, is such a twisted form of comedy that when it happens to one team, it's like, oh, sucks to be that team. When it happens to your division rival, that is technically still your old franchise that got stolen from you in 1995, it's really freaking funny. It really is. and this is special, and we're gonna fester this all the off season. Us, the Steeler fans, the Bengal fans, we're all just gonna be pointing and laughing like schoolyard bullies at the one nerd in the corner that is the Baltimore Ravens. I need a cigarette right now, a metaphorical cigarette. I don't smoke, but I need a metaphorical cigarette or something to calm me down other than this caffeine free Sprite.
I think the only way this gets resolved and he's a Baltimore Raven, Mitch, is they have to pay him what he wants.
And they're not.
Or damn
And they're
near close
not.
to it. That's the
And they're
only way that
not.
he's a Raven. No, they're not going to. And if they do, it's just going to show you that the players now have the power in the NFL. The players have always had the power in the NBA since probably 2008, I would say, when the Celtics made that big three.
Maybe,
and
yeah.
started seeing teams kind of players decide where they want to play. The players have never had the power in the NFL. But if the Ravens cave in now to John Harbaugh's, quote we just showed on the screen and read, it's going to show that now the players have the power. Deshaun Watson kind of proved that last year after telling the Browns, nope, I'm not coming here. And the Browns saying, well, what if we give you whatever you want? And he goes, yes. And then he comes to the Cleveland Browns. But this is fascinating. So as of right now, Mitch, give me your team that you think, give me your top team or top few teams that you think Lamar Jackson can go to. Because I know I said the Jets, but that's not my top team. I think there's a sleeper team out there.
Oh, okay. I think that Indianapolis is definitely up there. There was a report that I think it was Baltimore's. Some of Baltimore officials were in a meeting in Indianapolis. Or I have to make sure I get that report right. But the Colts are a team that desperately need a starting quarterback to solidify that offense. And they're not. I don't think they're going to get like a great name through the draft when CJ Stroud and Bryce Young go off the board. Maybe Anthony Richardson. Who knows? I could see that as the top team. I could also see Washington in there. You mentioned them. That is one where, even with Sam Howell under center, potentially, I don't see that team really progressing enough to compete with now the Eagles and the Giants and the Cowboys potentially. Those are my two teams right now. Everything else kind of seems like, down the river at some point. The Jets, maybe, but I think they have their sights set on the short term and the cheaper term. I know that you're saying, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers, $50 million a year. That's not cheap. Well, it's cheap for the short term.
Yep.
If you get one of those Super Bowl, one of those 2 years, it's worth it. When you're paying Lamar 6 years for $270 million, that's not what you want to do. But yeah, those are the only three teams I think that could legitimately make a move for Lamar, because every other team that needed a quarterback, I think, has pretty much made their move. And the other ones that are going to be high in the draft here soon, unless Carolina or Houston were to trade the number one pick to Baltimore, which, God, if that happened, that would just be such a mind screw. That would be very interesting, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think if the Ravens do trade him, they're going to be very adamant on trying to keep him out of the AFC. I think that's something we often see, like the Packers, much like the Packers, they would probably prefer to trade Rodgers to the AFC. And as it sits now, he wants to be a Packer. They're trying to get a deal done. I think Washington makes the most sense because I think Dan Snyder, like I've said a few episodes ago, would be willing to pay him what he wants. As we know, he's probably going to sell the team, and it would kind of be his last nice goodbye, if I'm putting it nicely, to NFL owners in the NFL. Mitch, I think there's a dark horse team that nobody's talking about that they have a good quarterback, but this would be an upgrade, and they're a young football team. That is the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit Lions and Lamar Jackson would make a lot of sense. Jamison Williams on the outside, Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side of Jamison Williams, Dan Campbell. The Lions are coming off a great season in terms of how bad they've been recently, obviously finishing just short of the playoffs. You want to talk about a way to electrify that city. And not only that, the Packers are potentially moving off Aaron Rodgers. The Vikings lost Adam Thielen. We know how I feel about Kirk Cousins. The Bears are young, trying to make a lot of moves. Mitch, a move like this for the Detroit Lions could put them right atop the NFC North. And next thing you know is that team could be good for a number of years to come. I think the Lions are an interesting team to look out for.
I already think they're going to be, if not one of the top contending teams, the top contending team for the division next year. And if they were to get Lamar, they might win that division by 3 games at minimum. It's such a fascinating scenario to think about. But yeah, it's really a fascinating sort of situation for all of us here, especially for the people in Baltimore right now. I have to go back and listen to some of the Baltimore radio stations after we stop filming, because I need to hear it. I need to hear what's going on in this city, the 5 stages of grief that they are seemingly going through right